Morning, Kevin. First Tuesday of February 2017, and you know what that means?
I think the Reserve Bank are going to make a fool of themselves again. What do you think?
Well, it could be on the cards. I think the banks have been doing some crazy things recently, putting their rates up independent to the Reserve Bank. So, be interested to hear what your thoughts are on what they might do again today.
Well, the cash rate's 1.5%, which is the highest in the world. They last met in December and then went on a 2 months holiday. And of course, 2 minutes after the last meeting, we got that terrible GDP number, which said that we're heading for a recession. If we get another month like that, then it's official we are in a recession. And what that proves is the Reserve Bank, which is supposed to look 12 or 18 months ahead, really can't look 2 days ahead, because they took no action on unemployment, no action to put more liquidity into the economy to help avoid this recession. They didn't even see the recession. So, as usual, we say, what's the Reserve Bank going to do and what should it do? So, I think what it's going to do is use this as an excuse to do nothing.
Yeah.
There's no one on the board who's self-employed. They're all on $1 million wages out there, and it's let them eat cake attitude. And that caused the Emperor of France to get decapitated, wasn't it? So, possibly that might happen to the Reserve Bank board. So what they should do is immediately drop rates to 1%, because instead of doing little incremental ones, it's got to be a big jolt that'll have an effect in the economy. But more important than that is the banks are laughing at the Reserve Bank. The Reserve Bank, RBA, is acting like the Rich Bankers Association. When the Reserve Bank lower rates, they don't. They only pass on a little bit. Now, this never used to happen. Prior to Rudd, we had treasurers with guts that would pick up the phone and ring the banks and say, you're going to pass this on in full, and they always did. It was just a matter of it's going to take a week or 2 weeks, or which bank's going to be first, which bank's going to be last. So they're sitting on a lot of money, as this chart shows you. The A and the B shows you that they can give us a lot of money. They're not. They're making themselves rich. And the problem is that has created a credit squeeze, as this next chart shows you. Since Rudd, we've had 9 years of a credit squeeze that no one's talking about. So the banks are just taking more and more money out of your and my pocket, and no one's doing a thing about it. So whatever the Reserve Bank does today, it's irrelevant, because they're a joke. The banks are ignoring them. The Treasurer is ignoring what the banks are doing. No one's talking about a credit squeeze. So really, the Reserve Bank is a redundant Bank of Australia. You're a total irrelevance. So I think we'll be coming back this afternoon to announce that the Reserve Bank is sitting on its hands.
So you mentioned the Treasurer. So what would you recommend to Scott Morrison that he should be doing?
Get a ticker would be a start. Pick up the phone for a second and tell the banks that they're going to start passing these rate cuts on. Now, the banks lied to the parliamentary inquiry on banking. They lied and said that they can't afford to pass these on because they get their funds from elsewhere, and that is not correct. In fact, it took ASIC to point out that the RBA submission, which the RBA were very quiet on, clearly showed that the cost of their funds has come down in step with the deductions by the Reserve Bank. But what they're not doing is passing it on. And also, the APRA are reinforcing this credit squeeze because they're egging the banks on to charge more and more to investors.
Yeah.
And the intriguing thing is that APRA bought this attack on investors to bring down property prices, but APRA, of course, buyers, is unaware of the law of supply and demand in setting prices, so he squeezed the supply coming into the market, which means we have a property boom thanks to APRA.
So Kevin's prediction is rates should come down to 1%. We think the Reserve Bank Governor will keep it steady on the same rate. So let's see this afternoon, Kevin, if the Reserve Bank Governor has any ticker to move rates down.
And watch out, Reserve Bank, because our Treasurer is going to get a ticker and he's going to pick up the phone and he's going to talk to you. Watch out.
Well, would you expect that to happen?
No.
Well, your money was right this morning. They left rates unchanged yet again at 1.5%.
When can Trump take control of our Reserve Bank? And even better still, it's the Rich Bankers Association, we all know that, and the Governor is now on $1 million plus a year. It's incredible. I think that's 3 times more than our Prime Minister is getting, and that's $1 million more than Trump is getting. Who's getting bang for their bucks? So what's this guy doing? Now his number one target to achieve his $1 million is full employment. Now let's see how good this guy is. Now I've got here his Reserve Bank monetary statements after each decision going back 4 months. So on the 4th of October, what does he say about unemployment? Now remember, this is now into what we know now was a recessionary quarter. All of our incomes went down. He says the unemployment rate has fallen further on the 4th of October. So you'd think, well, this is going to inspire him to do something here. Wow, isn't it good? But in the next sentence he says, indicators point to continued expansion in employment in the near term. Well, did that happen? Let's look at the near term. I presume it means in the 2 months later on the 6th of December. Wow, look what we've got here. On the 6th of December he says, indicators are somewhat mixed. The unemployment rate has declined this year. So we've got 2 months later, unemployment, expansion in employment. No, it hasn't happened. So now he's definitely going to lower rates, isn't he? Because he's got to look after full employment.
Yeah, definitely, and he's had his 2 month sabbatical, so we're now into February.
Well, let's see what happened in February. In the 6th of December he says, expansion in employment in the near term. So he's saying, I'm fulfilling my number one rule, just look after employment. It's going to happen. 6th of December it says, whoops, it hasn't happened, but it's going to happen. So let's look at what he's done today. He's really come forward to help the poor old workers. There's 2 million people out there looking for work. 2 million. And Turnbull is wondering why people aren't voting for him. Nowhere in Australia's history have we had 2 million people looking for work and the media aren't talking about it.
Yeah.
People can't get money to expand their businesses, but here he says there's full liquidity in the economy, and yet we know that's not true. And we're going to show you a little clip of Trump doing something about it in America.
We will also pursue financial reform that will help striving Americans get the credit they need to realize their dreams.
So look under employment, here it comes out. Now he says the unemployment rate has moved a little higher recently. Well, now, 7th of February, 4 months later, they've woken up, their prediction is wrong. So now they're definitely going to lower rates, aren't they? Because they've been wrong for 4 months, they're going to do something about the poor old worker.
Clearly
But
not.
hang on, forward-looking indicators point to a continued expansion in employment over the period ahead. Is that 20 years or 30 years ahead the employment's going to go up?
Well, he keeps playing on his words. He's just mixing the words up and giving the same message each month.
And he doesn't deliver. He promises and promises.
Yeah.
So the redundant Bank of Australia has done it again. And that's just on employment, which is their number one charter, is full employment. Which instantly, by the way, all those finance writers out there, it's not 4%, it's 2.3%. 4% was when Rudd took over the economy. So it's 2.3%, is traditionally the unemployment rate. So we have 2 million people that Rudd is stopping you getting elected again. 2 million people that are going to be talked about and given jobs, or you won't get elected again. Isn't this good disruptive politics? You know, we're getting rid of them. Who's the latest bloke we've got? Someone today.
Corey Bernardi.
Corey Bernardi.
Deserted the Libs.
Yeah, so it's going to pull them into line or they'll go down.
So let's look at the GDP. So we spoke this morning about the GDP, and the statement says the GDP was weaker than expected in the September quarter. A return to reasonable growth is expected in December quarter, now in February.
And we know how weak their crystal ball is, so why would you believe that? But they are right about something. I found something right about the Reserve Bank. They're right about the rest of the world's economy. The rest of the world's economy is getting better. Because of all these things here, they start with the world economy, and we'll go back to October. Global economy is continuing to improve. Wouldn't that be good if it was Australia?
Yep.
We go to December. The global economy is continuing to grow. We go to this month. The conditions in the global economy have improved. Then we go to Australia and it says GDP was weaker. When are they going to wake up that they've got the world's highest interest rates, they have a high Australian dollar, and we've got the worst Reserve Bank in the world? When are they going to wake up? You know, this is a recent experiment to have an independent, very expensive, non-elected, accountable body setting our interest rates. And on this board, we've only got bureaucrats and top executives, no one that's self-employed. Not one person is self-employed, self-made person on here. There's not one Gina Reinhardt, there's not butcher, not one baker, not candlestick maker. No one on this board, they don't understand. Redundant Bank of Australia.
Something close to our members' heart, Kevin, is the ability to borrow funds. And a statement on today is financial institutions remain in a position to lend. We spoke this morning about a credit squeeze and the impacts on investor lending. Do we think the banks are in a position to lend?
I think the Reserve Bank and all their elites on the board are in cloud cuckoo land. If you don't know that everyone on interest-only loans have been pushed to principal and interest, that's a 40% higher payment, but you can't go to your tenants and get a 40% higher payment. If you don't think the banks are squeezing people to add more deposits by getting valuers to value down properties, if you've got more cash sitting in your bank, they'll get to it by telling valuers to give you a lower valuation and take the money off you. Then you've got buyers from APRA telling the banks to charge investors more money. And that's the first time ever in history. This buyers is a cannonball through the economy. When America went through the same thing when we had the American financial crisis, and we know there was no global about the financial crisis, what did they do? They flooded the economy with money and opportunity, got things going. We're going through exactly the same period now, and this morning we showed you that credit squeeze that's going through the economy. It's been going through since Rudd. We should be flooded with money now. People should be borrowing at ultra low rates, because there are ultra low rates, expanding their business, borrowing for things that are made in Australia, creating jobs. Right where we need it. We spoke to banks this morning and they're suffering because they can't lend.
Yeah.
Mr. Byers is a cannibal. Let's get rid of him. He's trying to impress his Basel mates from Switzerland, who he was with when they looked after the sick banks around the world. He's come back now to show his mates how we can make our banks stronger. They're already the strongest in the world. They're already the richest in the world. They're the only banking monopoly in the world. Give it up, Byers. Let's up, Byers.
And you compare our rates to the rest of the world, we're still quite high compared to other countries, aren't we?
And we've still got that problem that all the lowering of rates that they're spruiking up about in 2016 haven't been passed on. And our timid treasurer isn't going to pick up the phone. Well, some advice for our timid treasurer. How about you ring Costello and ask him how it's done? Don't ask Swan, because he wasn't game enough to do it. Ring Costello and ring all the previous treasurers and find out how it's done. Simple, pick up the phone. Tell them to pass it on.
So if you could sit down with our Governor Philip Lowe, what would you talk to him about what he should be doing next month?
Resigning would be the first thing, and telling the Treasurer to take it back inside the government so that the press could at any day doorstop the Treasurer and saying, why have you got the world's highest rates? Why have you got a credit squeeze on? And the Treasurer could answer those. At the moment, no one doorstops the Treasurer and says, why have we got a credit squeeze? And as you know personally, the Treasurer doesn't believe there's a credit squeeze.
So this morning, Kevin, we said that the Reserve Bank should be dropping their rates to 1%. They remain constant at 1.5. Moving forward, we see GDP impacts. The Reserve Bank government's still thinking we've got to see what's happening in the December quarter. Surely they've got to get down to 1% at least next month.
I think they will, and I think we've got to get them thinking, take the resources income out of the equation, which they've never done for the last 6 years. This mining boom was a mining disaster because no one put money in their pockets except 4% of the whole Australian population. So we should strip the resource sector income out of our determination of whether we're in a recession or not, and look at the incomes that Australians have got. So we've got an elephant in the room here, and the elephant in the room is there is a credit squeeze going on in Australia. Hello, Mr. Treasurer, people can't get money off the banks. Hello, Mr. Treasurer, APRA is stopping people get money off the banks. Hello, Mr. Treasurer, the banks are taking money off people for loans going to P&I that should be interest only, And although APRA is also exciting these banks to take money off consumers to satisfy your desire to have these banks more capitalised. You do that if there's a crisis around. You don't do when the crisis is unemployment. 2 million people trying to get a job. Retail sales falling. Job growth falling. The job wage increases flatlining. Disposable income falling. You don't bring on a credit crisis in that situation. We have an elephant in the room that no one's talking about. We have a credit crisis. The last one was in 1961 when there was election on, and guess what happened? Menzies held on by one seat in 1961. What did he do? He quickly woke up and put money back into the economy. He learned his lesson.
So we'll send these through to our Liberal Party comrades, and let's see if we get the Treasurer at our conference coming up in March and get the white elephant in the room. What do you think?
I think it'd be a great idea. So come on, Mr. Treasurer, we will give you open stage and we'll have a good chat with you again on the credit squeeze in Australia and the monopoly on banking in Australia. If you'd like to come to our conference, we're on our 23rd. We have 20 genuine, successful property investors from their heart telling you why they're successful and from their heart telling you the traps that they found and how they come up with solutions. You won't see this anywhere else in the world. And again, they don't get behind the microphone and then run away. They'll come back and they'll talk to you and you'll meet them. And we have a great social night on Saturday night as well. So if you haven't been there before, have a look at the website, see what it's all about. Got to see you there. If you want to protect your wealth and grow your wealth, come along and see us.
And hopefully we'll have Scott Morrison there to meet you as well.
Well, that'll be good. And we've got the Lord Mayor of Brisbane coming along and who is going to open the conference. Last year we had the Lord Mayor of Gold Coast, Tom Tate, who did a fantastic job and told us a lot of the things that are now coming into fruition. We knew then, because we're in the club, what was happening. So I look forward to the Lord Mayor telling us a lot of good things that are coming up in Brisbane that no one else will know about. We'll get in first.
Well, we'll see you next month, Kevin, and we'll see what the Reserve Bank delivers for us.
And I see you brought this along. I'm on Fiji time, no hurry, no worry. I think Phil wants to award that to the Governor of the Reserve Bank. Well done, Phil.
No worries. No hurry.